Welcome to Decoding Cultural Layers, where stories turn into insights and everyday life unfolds in unexpected ways. I'm Gafdilius. Let's peel back the layers together. Today, our agenda focuses on class resentment, a social dynamic we frequently encounter on social media and one of the defining issues of our time. Explaining this concept merely as envy directed at the wealthy would be a serious injustice both to social dynamics and to the roots of individual emotions. For this reason, in order to understand class resentment, we will first look at the perspectives of key thinkers and then turn to social, economic, and psychological realities. To understand the roots of class resentment, we must first focus on the fundamental concepts developed by thinkers who have shed light on this issue. The structural foundations of this matter were laid by one of the most influential philosophers of the 19th century, Karl Marx. According to him, the history of society is the history of a class struggle between those who own the means of production and those who do not, and this struggle accumulates deep anger and resentment within the oppressed classes. To Marx's definition of structural anger, another major 19th century German philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, adds an emotional and moral dimension. Through the concept of ressentiment, or resentment morality, Nietzsche explains how the suppressed anger felt by individuals in subordinate positions toward those in superior positions transforms into a claim of moral superiority. Moving into the 20th century, the existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre interprets this anger as a rebellion against the obstacles placed in the way of human freedom. According to him, when the individual is constrained by the system, class resentment is not merely a material reaction, but also an existential revolt. Contemporary social philosopher Axel Honneth, however, takes the issue into an entirely different dimension. With his theory of the struggle for recognition, he emphasizes that individuals seek not only economic well-being, but also recognition as valuable human beings by others. According to Honneth, individuals who feel socially and culturally unrecognized experience deep resentment and anger. When we look at what these thinkers have in common, we see that class resentment is intertwined not only with the amount of money in our pockets, but also with the value society assigns to us, the cultural atmosphere we live in, and our inner psychological world. At its core, class resentment is a product of economic inequality. Throughout history, the concentration of wealth in the hands of a particular segment of society and the exclusion of the majority from that wealth have fueled collective anger. Today, the situation is no different. Rising costs of living, unfair income distribution, and unequal opportunities in fundamental areas such as education and healthcare reinforce the feeling that individuals are systematically disadvantaged. Over time, this feeling goes beyond mere discouragement and turns into a form of social energy. This economically rooted anger becomes a deep-seated state of resentment and mistrust simmering beneath the surface. But how does this inequality manifest itself in the individual's inner world and psychology? Human psychology is naturally inclined toward a search for justice. An individual who constantly feels wronged cannot suppress this feeling. Over time, this emotion comes to be called resentment. In psychology, the concept of relative deprivation points precisely to this phenomenon. People experience anger not only because of absolute poverty, but also because of the sense of lack they feel when they compare themselves to what others possess. In the age of social media, however, this comparison has almost turned into a form of coercion. Whereas previously we compared ourselves only with those around us, today we can instantly see luxury lifestyles and perfectly filtered scenes of happiness from all over the world on a single screen. This constant comparison has become one of the most powerful psychological mechanisms triggering class resentment. Yet the issue is not only about money. This emotion is also fueled by social hierarchy and differences in status. Sociology approaches class resentment not merely as an individual emotion, but as a social phenomenon. Pierre Bourdieu deepens this distinction through the concepts of cultural and social capital. In addition to material wealth, correct tastes, education, knowledge of art and social networks also determine status in society. This adds a cultural dimension to economic inequality, meaning that class resentment is nourished not only by income disparities, but also by disparities in respect and recognition. Social media has become a medium that not only displays these inequalities, but actively reinforces them. While posts showcasing luxury lifestyles create a deep sense of exclusion among lower classes, upper classes sometimes turn these platforms into arenas of power display. The echo chambers created by algorithms further polarize and amplify this anger. All of these economic and sociological layers bring us to the most sensitive core of class resentment, the issue of recognition and dignity. Axel Honneth's theory of recognition offers a powerful key to understanding class resentment. According to Honneth, individuals need legal, social, and personal recognition. First and foremost, legal recognition, the sense of having equal rights, is essential. However, when poverty prevents individuals from actually exercising these rights, they begin to feel excluded. Added to this is the need for social recognition, which means being valued and respected within society. When lower classes are belittled or ignored, they lose this recognition. Finally, recognition in the form of love and close relationships nourishes an individual's self-respect. Yet social stress and pressure can damage even this most fundamental form of recognition. From this perspective, class resentment is not merely a material inequality, it is a wounded sense of dignity and a manifestation of disappointment experienced in the search for visibility and acknowledgement. Although social media is not the direct source of class resentment, it is one of the most powerful tools that feeds it. First, the culture of display deepens comparison and ensures that everyone is constantly exposed to luxury lifestyles. Second, the structure of algorithms brings together similar viewpoints, transforming anger into a collective energy and intensifying polarization. Third, virtual identities idealize statuses that cannot be attained in real life, creating an even wider gap between an individual's reality and their virtual ideal. For this reason, social media goes beyond merely reflecting existing economic and social inequalities. It makes them more visible and more painful. When we bring all these socio-economic and psychological dynamics together within a broader philosophical framework, what does class resentment tell us? When Nietzsche's resentment morality, Sartre's search for freedom, and Honneth's struggle for recognition are considered together, class resentment emerges not simply as an economic reaction, but as an existential rebellion. When individuals feel that they are not valued, this emotion transforms into a revolt against injustice. Thinkers of the Frankfurt School, Max Horkheimer and Theodor Adorno, argue that this anger is nourished by a capitalist culture that produces false needs, and that individuals feel both admiration for and resentment toward this structure. Although class resentment may appear on the surface as jealousy or personal hostility, it is in fact a complex emotion arising from the convergence of economic inequalities, cultural barriers, psychological fractures, and social structures. Social media accelerates and makes this emotion visible, but the roots of this anger lie in the human longing to be respected, to feel valued, and to live in a just world. For this reason, talking about class resentment is, in essence, talking about where we stand as a society and where we want to go. Now, I leave you with this question: can this anger become a spark for social change? Or is it merely the echo of yet another disappointment resonating on our screens?